Hi Steve, Chris here. Let me introduce you to your 2001 Space Station Starter Kit. It's a lot of pieces. This is a puzzle, and I'm going to spend a few minutes here showing you my designs and how they go together, and then I'll show you a little sample I built up here. So let me start with the main structures, ring, lattices, top and bottom. Now I've got two different kinds of lateral supports. I've got square pieces and I've got rectangular pieces. You can use the squares or the rectangles to assemble these guys, top and bottom, with squares in between. Or, and this is how I did this one, I started by using rings. And you'll see these are etched I and O. You've got two I's and two O's. The O is outer diameter. The I is the inner diameter. This is all scaled to 36 inches. And what I did is I lined up my squares to stand up on these. Super glue and spray kicker. I did a row of about 4 of these standing up. Then I grabbed the top portion of the rail, glued that on. The inner diameter rail, glued that onto the top, and then I kept going. I did that about 4 times here. Now, since then, before I move on, let me show you. I also have rectangular versions of these supports. So instead of the squares, I noticed that in some of the photos, those rings look pretty flat, rectangular. So you've got these as an option to lay down. Now, let me show you an alternate way of doing this, is using these. You can glue your vertical supports across these 4, and then just very simply glue the top onto that. That takes care of your rails. That makes sure everything is straight right off the bat. One thing I noticed, Steve, is that this structure is a lot more complex than I originally thought. There's a square strut, and then there's like a contoured strut. So there's actually 2 pieces. You've got a taper here along this edge. So just as an option, in case you want to go through the headache of doing a lot more planes, I designed this strut to be 2 parts, so it's just like you see. You've got a square, and then you have this tapered piece. This is the inside of the station, this is the outside of the station. So your skins with all the windows go on top here, and then this is all, if you can imagine it, this is all grid work. I'm going to head outside right now and cut these pieces and show you what I mean. Here is your third option for vertical struts. So instead of one large square or one long rectangle, what you have is a smaller square and a trapezoid. So this is going to allow you that step. If you want to go this far, let me show you how this is assembled. First, what you're going to do is lay down one of the curved supports, put down your squares, put down your trapezoids, and then you'll also put on your top of the support. So you'll end up with a wedge. And what you'll see is you'll have to adapt this inside edge of the top support, this guy here, you'll have to cut it loose to reveal that step. And then use some of the trim to lay in your grid work across this edge, and then again on the bottom edge, and then again on this edge, so that you've got that structural support of the step. You can see that I lowered the profile, so now you've got thinner rings that are more rectangular, much skinnier than my first version. See, it's kind of hard to tell, but you can see that this is skinnier, and the detail is finer. These trapezoids and squares are cut with much thinner walls, and then this is also much thinner too. So it's a lot more delicate. I think it'll hold up to scale a lot better if you decide to go with that third structural option. Okay, here's my little quick slap together sample build of that option number 3. You can see that that inner ring will now have the step. The details are really delicate. Here it is compared to the first version. So this is actually the 3rd version. And that'll give you an idea of the scale. This thing is huge. 3-foot space station, baby. Let me show you the docking port. You've got 2 pieces. You've got a piece of MDF and a styrene sheet that's been laser etched. So you've got front and back on these guys. You can see that etched detail on this a little bit. Okay, now let's talk about these faces, these inner faces. 2 versions. This was my first version. You probably won't end up using this. This one has etch lines all across. But you requested raised detail, and I've got 2 different cut versions for this. 1/4-inch MDF and 093 styrene. So, and you'll notice that both the styrene and the MDF are numbered 1, 2, 3. Once you mold these in resin, you can just sand those down really easily. But I wanted to make sure that you understood that number 1 is the outside diameter ring, 2 is the middle, and number 1 goes to the inside diameter. And you space these in between these windows, like about this, and there is your raised detail for the faces. That is a look at the part, so you can make some sense of what you're going to pull out of the box. Here's another look at my sample build. You can see I've got several different layers going on. It's pretty busy, but just to give you a sense of scale and just to give you an idea of what this looks like. And that's about it for your Space Station Care Package, Steve. I want you to have fun. Think of this as a modular kit. It can go together any different number of ways, and have fun. Glad to help.